First of all, I loved how he came to the business, just kind of, serving mankind. And then that translated into, I personally think, if you actually know the story of cannabis as a cultural crop, in our culture, it's only illegal for political reasons. And so I think that for whatever reason, humanity's consciousness is waking up to all its incredible broad uses, that those who, and it really has, just really, I think we're only scratching the surface in terms of all the applications, everything from industrial materials to
You're a busy guy.
Yeah.
You have 1 million acres in BC.
Yeah. So everything from industrial uses to medicinal uses to recreational, so all those types of things, that someone who is a personality, because we don't only invest in the actual tech, we invest in the management, and so personality, background, vision for his company, and it just for all those things, we're just kind of tick the boxes for me.
The whole project is very large, so to be able to stand in front of anybody and explain it in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes even, is difficult. But this gentleman, like he said, he says, it's exactly what we want.
So, did you get what you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but the audience reaction was great, the judge's reaction was great.
At the end, I turned it around and I said, gentlemen, if you were to bid on my company, what would you bid? And none of them were really saying anything, which was like kind of surprising. Were you in or were you not in to start with? Or was this?
I did get what I wanted. It was very interesting, but not in the way that I wanted.
Okay.
It was, the judges have more questions to ask, and we're going to get together later and talk about more of that. But I have audience members who already came up and given me cards and said this is the exact fit for what they're looking for. Wow. So that's good for us, and we're going to have further discussions this evening and over the next couple of days to see how that goes.
Alistair, none of the judges, I guess this is what surprised me, is that none of the judges felt that that was an opportunity for them, as they did with us. I mean, each of the panel members are looking for something specific, let's say.
Our goal as Scientist Pharma coming here tonight was to connect with companies that are emerging in the marketplace who may be able to invest in and partner up with afterwards. And most certainly we identified at least one company that I'd like to follow up with.
So I felt really good about the entire energy of that.
When I went to the judges were a little reserved because of the evaluation and because of the fact that we were in the gray market, but the audience was very supportive. They were howling, they were putting up their banners saying that they would bid on my company. So we got a lot of support from the audience. I'm quite happy with that. And even though we didn't get a judge to bid on our company, I was very proud with our performance.
The winner of tonight, eHave, they are very much aligned with where we're headed to as Scientist Pharma. They're focused very much on the medical market and developing and gathering data and analyzing data that relates to the kinds of medicines that we want to bring to market.
How is the investment that you gather over the next 90 days going to transform Mary's?
It would transform Mary's into getting it ready for the upcoming market so that we can have the capacity and production to meet the needs, because we're going to need to supply for the new 40 Ontario cannabis stores. So we're going to need the supply, the demand, and that's where we need the funding to be ready for those 40 stores, because we believe and we know we're going to make a deal with the licensed producer that will allow to have RTs in these stores. It's just a matter of who we're going to go with. We do have a few interests. It's just deciding which one is the best match for us.
When we look at what we can accomplish with this funding, we've proven it. We have something in market. It's real, and what we're trying to do is make sure it's not just in one place, but it's everywhere. And I think that's the big thing for us: is how do we make sure that many people benefit? Because the more people we work with, the more data we have, the more clinicians will have information, the more patients who will actually be able to participate in their own care and actually make educated decisions, and it grows from there. And I think that's going to be, we're at the beginning stages of that, and we really hope that we come out of this on top.
This investment is really the difference between an idea, prototypes, or very advanced prototypes, to actually shipping product, getting it into customers' hands, and that means revenue. So it's really going to bring us into revenue, and that's obviously what every business needs in order to succeed. So that's really the biggest milestone for us.
With the investment in Attract, it gives us the ability to get our own LP. Once we have our own LP, we can work in every facet of this industry. I have inquiries from all over the world, basically over the last few weeks, from Mexico, from Brazil, from Germany, from Malawi, all kinds of different Africa, all kinds of places that are actually asking about our technology. So yes, it can attract do a lot of good for the world, and we can also grow and go into different countries as well. Also Australia as well. I have people from down there talking to me already.
Our products today are not regulated and able to be sold yet. So what we're most interested in TEAC after tonight's presentations with eHave is being able to gather the data that we can put behind our products to submit to Health Canada in our submissions to demonstrate why our products are more effective than what else is available in the market.
What could be more important than that to a supplier of medicine?
I agree. I agree. If you think about it, what our doctors are craving for and clamoring for, are almost demanding out there, is give us the tools to be able to prescribe to patients. We can't, in the old days, prescribe a bag of weed with any sense of confidence on managing a treatment plan. Number one, because we don't know when you smoke it how it's going to react in your body. Number two, the batch of weed that you're buying today could be very different from the harvest or the batch of weed you're buying tomorrow. What we're focused on is giving them that consistency so that every time a doctor prescribes our product, whether it be today or 3 months from now, it's the same product.
Apparently, according to them, our valuation was a little high for them.
They thought the $10 million was too much?
Yeah.
Okay.
They thought that because our, 300,000 sales so far this year was too much for...
That was too low for $10 million?
Yeah, for 10 mil. But that, we're only in the first quarter. Right. So, come on, gentlemen, that's $9 million in 1 year. So that's not really that low.
It's not really that low.
No, especially not in the gray market.
He ran out and didn't let me leave the room.
Why did he choose you?
He chose me because he's looking at a facility that, so they have lots of land in BC, and they're looking for greenhouses, and it's a perfect match for what he wants to grow cannabis with. And they have a huge investment fund from New York. So he said that it's a perfect match for what he's looking for. Frustrated,
okay.
But no, there's never been a point that I would give up. This business is too important from a food perspective, from a community development perspective, and from a cannabis strain development perspective. We are associated with a lot of different companies that I can't talk about in here in 5 minutes, and one of them is looking at stem cells from cannabis plants. And you can actually go into looking at strains that have been damaged by the U.S. government's spraying efforts, and we can actually go into those strains and we can actually revive them by taking out the pure genetics from the plant and actually regrowing for those communities.
You're like the guys at the end of like Interstellar when they predicted like the world was messing up, so they had like these people who were like making the corn and making all of that extra stuff, and then the corn crops would like burn up because the environment was so bad, and they'd be like, better luck next year. But you're the guy who's like pretty much putting together the idea of growing the corn and stuff for everybody to eat.
My name is Alistair Gregor. I'm the CEO and president of Ag Spectra, and we're based out of McGrath in southern Alberta. So Ag Spectra is the best greenhouse company on the planet because we actually took the time to look at business. I had a background working as a trustee for UN Trust for 14 years. And part of that was all around food and economic development. And a lot of companies would come in and they would build or provide installation of whatever it was they were providing, and they would stay there for 6 months or a year and they would leave. And whatever they created would fall apart. So what we wanted to do was to create something that was easy to make, was very, very high quality, had great longevity to it, that the locals could use, and we could train them easily and also monitor from a distance. So we have full monitoring systems. So what we did is we reverse engineered all the aspects of the greenhouse.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm the founder of Mary's Wellness. Before the cannabis industry, I was in advertising, and then I was a caregiver and a parent to 6 children. That includes triplets. And yes, I had triplets, and cannabis was the reason why they're here. I started using cannabis when I was first pregnant with my triplets. I was very sick. I was extremely ill. I was constantly, I was not able to intake any food. I was constantly, how can I say, in a way that is polite, vomiting. And no matter what I would take, including water, I was not well. And I tried everything, diclectin, I tried Gravol, nothing worked. And it came to a point where I was in desperation, and I called my doctors and other sources in the hospitals, and I was told that basically my other options were to have birth selection, which is, to me, was not an option altogether at all.
My name is Yoni Ophir, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Leaf.
What is Leaf?
So before Leaf, I had a company called Alcahoot that I started with a friend of mine. Alcahoot was the world's first smartphone breathalyzer.
My name is Teek, and I'm the president and CEO of eHave. Before entering the cannabis industry with eHave, I worked at Princess Margaret Cancer Center. And my role there was to run the cancer informatics strategy.
My name is Mike Mueller. I am a co-founder, the president and CEO of Sun Pure Cannabis Company.
So that's when I started medicating more with cannabis. And I remember, because I had given up cannabis when I became pregnant, but I remember that first time that I had cannabis, oh my God, I was smiling. And I ate half a pizza. And I not only ate half a pizza, I ate everything else that was in the cupboard. Then I was looking for more food, and I had the giggles, and nothing really bothered me. And I was just happy. And the thing is, the food stayed. That I actually was able to keep the food in. And I thought, well, if this is one way that I can consume nutrition and stay relaxed and happy, then that's the way that I'm going to treat myself, because there was other medications that were available to me that had worse side effects than what I had read on cannabis. My triplets were full term. Not only they were full term, they had no hospital stay. They were healthy. There were no incubation. They left the hospital the same day as I did. They were completely breastfed for 4 months. They are now 11 years old. They've been healthy, and they are actually, A and B students. So they do really well academically. I'd say that a lot more study needs to be done in the benefits of cannabis and pregnancy. Back in 2011, I was charged with possession at a RIDE program, possession of 19 grams of cannabis. I actually self-represented for 12 months. I went to trial twice where I self-represented and was acquitted for all charges against me, and that made precedence. Yes. I fought the law and I won. That was a scary moment, but I had to straddle the court back and forth and tell myself over and over, I got this, and it was good. I did, I won. So
you're going to win tonight?
I hope so, yeah.
What are you looking to raise?
Ricardo, do you want to discuss that?
How much money you guys get?
Millions.
Well, I started growing my own cannabis in 2011. When I lived in California, I had a medical prescription for cannabis, and that allowed you at the time to grow up to 6 plants. And with my experience in hardware and manufacturing, I also knew that there were a lot of things that could be automated, like the nutrient dosing and the lighting and the climate control and everything. So I just started off with a basic idea of a device that I actually wanted for myself, that I knew that I would use. And it turned into a project that is basically taken over my life for the last 3 years.
So as cannabis enters a medicinal space, what we're witnessing is people still don't understand what to prescribe, how much to prescribe, how to consume it, how frequently to. These are common questions that physicians and patients ask about drugs. And if you want to be a medicinal cannabis provider, you have to be able to provide the public and the clinicians information as if you were a drug company. And without that data, people are lost. And this is why only 5% of the clinicians, 5 to 10% of the clinicians actually prescribe cannabis, because they don't know what to trust. And it's not going to increase until they have that drug book. If you walk into your clinician's office, they're going to have a book. And in the book, they're going to sit there and say, for this drug, it will help with these conditions. Here is the dose, here's the route, here's the frequency, and here are the side effects. Those side effects are critical. And so until cannabis actually starts embracing the fact that this is a medicinal purpose drug and starts generating this information, just like a regulated pharmaceutical, clinicians are going to be hesitant to put their license on the line and prescribe something they don't know how to trust.
The Okanagan draws almost 2 million visitors annually. The Okanagan is the heart of BC Bud. It's reality. People figure that the cannabis industry will overshadow the alcohol industry potentially in Canada.
The tea, because it was a great and benefit way to medicate discreetly while I looked after my family, my kids, my triplets, my grandmother, and everyone else. Plus, I had 6 surgeries following the birth of the triplets. I had six surgeries in 3 years. And you can't medicate with cannabis smoking or vaping when you're in a hospital or when you're recovering. So the tea was definitely another way that we could medicate.
This is sort of like a dream product for us to bring to the marketplace. The differentiator is the technology. It's like a car, right? There's a lot of different types of cars, and they'll get you from A to B. But, you have a basic car that might be a stick shift, and then you have a Tesla. And we are that Tesla. We believe that data is going to be the largest database of cannabis strain grow data, which is going to be super valuable for breeders, home growers, even potentially, wholesale growers. Still to be determined what it's worth. One of my mentors always told me the data is worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
We often get asked, well, how do we compare it to a Leafly? And, are we a pharmaceutical grade version of a Leafly? That's a very interesting question, because we believe that organizations like Leafly need to exist. They get excellent information, especially for the rec market. But what we're seeing is we want to make sure that clinicians and patients are equipped with the right information. Will we be a pharmaceutical grade Leafly? Maybe. But I think what we want to be is that cannabis book. Same like a pill book, we want to have that cannabis book that has a compendium of the strains with the data that backs to show why these strains are effective, what the side effects should be, and how you should prescribe it.
That's
We're
everything.
good?
I know you have to prepare. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
With our startup company and the research and the connections that we've made, there are a lot of drinkable companies. We've been approached by a tequila company, an award-winning winery, and they all are, I think, looking at the future potential of a cannabis-infused product, right? There are, Melissa Etheridge in the States, she's got her own line of cannabis-infused wine that they sell already, right? So I think there's going to be, I think there's good potential, especially in our area again. Being that there are so many wineries that could potentially back a lot of the cannabis companies, I think we're going to see that, and maybe that's where our niche market will be, is just in production and a joint venture with some sort of winery or beverage company.
We can create any type of environment. So we have a lovely friend, Carrie. She's down in Jamaica, and she heads up the cannabis collective down there. So I've talked to Carrie. I said, okay, we can mimic what you have in Jamaica, in a greenhouse in Alberta or in BC. We can totally do that. So we can create any kind of environment and grow any type of cannabis from India, from the West Indies, from South America, local, and we can play with the environment. So with that, we can create any strains and any type of volume. So that's what makes us amazing. We can do that both for cannabis and food. We can grow 200,000 kilograms within the next 2 years. Now, if you want a comparison of what that is, Aurora's just announced that they bought out MedRelief. MedRelief, they bought out Cannamed and a couple of other companies. Aurora keeps buying out companies. But they've just announced last week that of all their facilities, both home and abroad, that they can do 570,000 kilos of production. They're not there yet, but that's what they feel they can do. I'm sure we can surpass that very, very quickly, and we can make a better quality product with our strains. So customers will be much happier, and I think, if you're looking at Molson Canadian, what they've done buying out all the craft breweries, we have the craft products. So I think we're going to be much further ahead than Aurora or any of the other companies out there within very short order. When you have glass or polycarbonate or polyethylene, this is what every other greenhouse company uses and every other cannabis company uses. They all filter out ultraviolet light. Now, cannabis is a long light plant. Cannabis requires ultraviolet light. If you grow under glass, you're growing under polyethylene, polycarbonate, you're going to get garbage cannabis, low in oils. So when you're growing with our AgClean material, it lets in that 290 to 360 nanometer light. That is where the magic happens with cannabis. As I said, it's a long light plant. So this is where you get up to 20% higher THC. You get vast increases in CBDs depending upon the strain. You get greater increases in terpenes and flavonoids. Now, a lot of people don't understand flavonoids are developed. Flavonoids are where the aromas, the aromatics, the flavors, you can actually take those, separate them from it, and that gives you a lot of high money products. Flavonoids gives you colors, it gives you scents, it gives you aromatics, it gives you the ability for the plant to fight pests. It allows the plant to look beautiful, smell beautiful, and stand up. So what happens with the production of oils is you get longer shelf life. So when you're growing food under our greenhouses, you're getting 2 to 2.5 times longer shelf life. Simple reason why: you get more waxes, more oils. You get more waxes, more oils, you get less evaporation. So you get a better, stronger cellular structure. So that's the difference in our greenhouses, in our greenhouse technology.
That's a good idea. So we've actually been looking around for these solutions, and so I've been, for the past few months, I've been trying to figure out how to solve that problem. So when Alistair came on stage, I was like, "That's my solution." And that's why I've looked at various types of agri-tech plays and just really kind of hit the mark.
Thank you.
And so just kind of the features that Alistair was talking about in a solution were just kind of like, this seems amazing.
What are those critical features that put their agri-tech business head and shoulders above everyone else that you've been seeing?
I think it was a bit of a comprehensive vision. For us as investors, we always look how technology translates into profit and revenue. And so we're really very disciplined about that. We see a lot of deals, and so there's a lot of really kind of interesting engineering out there, but there's not companies. It's rare to find a company that kind of, goes from A to Z. And so just kind of the combination of all those things was, flick the switch.
It's like a diamond. You have to have it's a multifaceted approach, and you have to make sure every one of those facets shines on itself in its own. And if it does shine in itself and of its own, and if you are working with the right people and everybody has the right mindset to move forward together as a unit, then everybody benefits. And we've had people come and work with us who go, "Oh, we're going to get so rich." And I just go, if you think you're going to get rich working for us, then you're not, because what we're doing is community-based. So what we're doing, yes, we're going to make money. Yes, we're going to be fine, and everything's going to be beautiful. But what we can do from a community aspect is we can build communities and we can support communities and sustain communities. And we can do that with food and we can do that with cannabis. Now, cannabis is extremely high profitable business. And you can build a lot of cannabis greenhouses and you can build food greenhouses right alongside with them. So the trifecta is lighting, smart building envelope, and clean water. And putting that together, we can do anything with any types of food and premium cannabis, which gets a high retail. We've looked at what we call the last mile. And oftentimes when you go into rural communities, they don't have internet. They don't have the ability to connect, to communicate. So Lonnie is a communication specialist. He's worked with projects with NASA. He's worked with projects with communications for the President of the United States. And so part of our systems is communication systems. And so when we're doing these greenhouses, every one of them is connected. And they're connected via meshnet technology. So we can go into a rural community and we can actually connect the entire rural community, and we can take that and extend that into the urban middle of nowhere one greenhouse, and they will have high-tech internet. So
it's interesting you say that as well, because one of the tech companies that we're looking at is providing last mile internet connectivity.
Right.
It has a low power consumption antenna.
That's right. Yeah.
That provides for that, and the company's actually working with Bill Gates right now to execute that. But we're investing in Africa right now.
Yes.
And so I think they have a lot of these problems.
I have a call from a gentleman whose brother's a diplomat in Zambia. Sorry, not Zambia, Zimbabwe. And met with him last week up in Calgary. And his brother was also a diplomat to Malawi. So he wants us to do cannabis in Zimbabwe and Malawi. So
you can add Tanzania to that list.
It's not all altruistic, because you're in business to make money. You are in business to make money, but you also look at a certain percentage of that money and how do you use that money. So you have to use it intelligently and you have to be very focused. So having a global network, you can actually pull on different technologies globally, fund them, support them, and use them globally. So we have people who've come to us right now from Colombia, from Brazil, from Mexico. The Witch-Alls, 2 weeks ago for the Witch-Alls, they came and said, okay, 10 years ago, I was talking to them. 10 years ago, we put a water system in there, and here we are 10 years later, they're coming us, and one of the guys from the village is now one of the senators of the area, and he's like, I know what you guys did 10 years ago, and this is what I wanted. I want you guys to come in, and I want you guys to do cannabis for us. And the army's involved, and the militaries, and everybody else is involved, but we want you guys to do it. And I'm just sitting there going, how does this happen? So these are all things, but I think we need to focus on BC. We need to focus on be very, very clear on developing this quickly and cleanly. And the reason I'm saying that is that it's very easy to spend a day or two traveling to Malawi or Zimbabwe or wherever. You can waste a huge amount of time doing it, and you only have a finite amount of resources, and you have a finite amount of money. So you have to spend the time properly. Now, as you saw on stage, a world-class facility. Why do I want to be with this company? Why did I choose the company? Because they're near Abbotsford Airport, they're near Vancouver International Airport. And anybody can fly in, and anybody can see the indoor technology, anybody can see the greenhouse technology, anybody can see how it works. So this is why we do what we do. Every single city has a dead zone. And there are so many places that are food deserts that are within cities. They have no food. They have 7-Eleven. Everything comes from a package. Everybody has diabetes. Now, we're opening an office right now in Thailand. I was in Thailand in 1991. Everybody was very slim, very beautiful, unaffected by the Western diet. Today you go to Thailand and everybody is overweight, obese, the second level of obesity in the Asian culture in Thailand. And everywhere you look at, there's a 7-Eleven on every corner. and everybody's eating this food. So I look at this, and you talk about a village economy, and it's not about just village economy. It's about we're enabling to produce food wherever the food needs to go very quickly and with great sustainability to produce highly nutritious food, and we're able to employ the locals to produce that food that they're going to be eating. And if you know anything about water and sunlight, if you eat food that comes from the area that you have the same water and the same sunlight that you're eating and drinking and bathing in, that food has a multiples more beneficial, has more benefits your body multiple times more, and actually need to eat less of the food to benefit the body. So we got more money in the economy, and when you have more money in the economy, that brings down recidivism rates, so stops people from going into jail. It brings down social services, stresses on social services. It reduces stresses on the police, on the medical systems, and so on. So these are all knock-on effects, but they're very real knock-on effects. And we've looked at all of these, and we've seen from a UN point of view, and I don't work for the UN, I've never worked for the UN. We're a trustee, we were a trustee, I was a trustee of a trust that was part of that. So we look at this and we say, how can we go into a country and what can we do? And these are the tenets that we look at, and we apply those here, and we can apply them anywhere. So,
look forward to partnering with you.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Henry. Pleasure indeed. Thank you, guys.